Hello and Namaste. In continuation with the complex numbers, we'll be starting with the De Moivre's theorem. So statement of the De Moivre's theorem goes as, for any rational number small n, the value or one of the values of cos of theta plus I sin theta to the power n is equals to cos of n theta plus I times sin of n theta. That means what? This to the power n will come into the angle only if there are few corollaries for this particular statement. So if you'll observe here, we have got this cos of theta as the real part of this particular complex number and sin of theta as the imaginary part of this complex number. So this particular thing, cos of theta plus I sin theta to the power n, can be written as cos of n theta plus I times sin of n theta. So this power will go with the angle if in the De Moivre's theorem. Now there are few corollaries. What do you mean by corollary? Corollary means this is a statement of the theorem. Based on the statements, few properties or few nodes would be observed by the statements. So what are those statements? First is sin of theta plus I times cos of theta to the power n is not equals to sin n theta plus I times cos of n theta. Means what? If I have the real part of the complex number as sin theta and the imaginary part as cos of theta, then to the power of n will not be equals to this type of identity. That means what? This type of sin theta as a real part and cos theta as an imaginary part, this complex number would not follow the De Moivre's theorem. If we wanted to have this type of the sin theta plus I times cos of theta to the power n, we have to convert this sin theta into the cos theta and this cos theta into the sin theta by making this trigonometric functions, right? Okay. Now second thing is, if z is equals to cos of theta plus I times sin theta, then 1 by z, or you can say the z inverse or inverse of that particular complex number is same as cos of theta plus I times sin theta to the power minus 1, which is also same as cos of theta minus of I times sin of theta. So this minus 1 you can take it in the power or you can take it in the center or the middle part of this sign of this complex number, right? So this is also very important corollary following because of the statement of the De Moivre's. Third goes as cos of theta plus I times sin theta to the power minus n is cos of n theta minus I times sin n theta, which is same. So almost this both the corollaries are same, but only there is a difference. Here it is to the power 1, wherein this is to the power minus of n. So this is the same thing will happen whatever has happened for the second corollary. And the third as, if z to the power n as cos of n theta plus I times sin of n theta and z to the power minus n as equals to cos of n theta minus of I times sin of n theta, then we can write down or we can express cos of theta and cos of n theta and sin of n theta in terms of z to the power n and z to the power minus n with this relation. So we can have this relation between this, and this relations plays very important role whenever we wanted to go for the roots of the complex numbers and the powers, the expansions of the complex numbers. Anyways, we'll be going ahead with those type of examples as well. So this fifth one is, if z1 is cos of theta plus I times sin theta and z2 is cos of phi plus I times sin of phi, means what? We do have the different angles. If you observe here, this is a theta and this is a phi angle. Then what this identity first is for the product of these two complex number with the different angles will have is equals to cos of theta plus phi plus I times sin of theta plus phi, and the division will exist as cos of theta minus phi plus I times sin of theta minus phi. So if you observe here, there is a plus sign between these two whenever I'm having z1 into z2, because it's just a complex number, the multiplication of two complex number, you will be getting something like this type of relation. Similarly, z1 upon z2, that is nothing but z1 into z2 the power minus 1. Again, the multiplication of those two will give you like something like this, and that is the reason it's given to you in this way. Very important corollaries from this theorem follows. Then the last one is cos of theta plus I times sin of phi to the power n is not equal to the. What do you mean by that? If the angle of this particular complex number, both the angles are different, then also the De Moivre's theorem will not follow. So this is very important property again. So these are the 6 properties also we can say it, or otherwise we can say that important corollaries of the De Moivre's theorem. We will just quickly go ahead with few examples. First is cos of theta plus I times sine of theta to the power 8 and sine theta plus I times cos of theta to the power 4 in the form of x plus iy. That means what we have to express this this type of identity into a complex number. Okay, first of all, we will try to convert everything in terms of one thing, so that what will happen, we can just go ahead and find out the to the power, the common power. But if you'll observe here in the denominator, we do have it here sine theta plus I times cos of theta. And just now we have seen that if I have got the real part as a sine and the imaginary part as cos, then the De Moivre's theorem will not follow. But yes, because of the here power 4, if you'll observe here, what adjustment we have done it here. So we have taken I out from this to the power 4. But when this I is coming out with the power 4, it will come as I to the power 4. So this, after taking this I power I to the power 4 out of this bracket, we'll be having I cos of theta plus 1 upon I times sine of theta. And we know that 1 upon I is nothing but minus of I. So how this identity will reach to 1 upon I into I upon I. This will give me minus I upon minus of 1, which will give us, no, this is plus I divided by minus of 1, which is minus of I. The same thing we have written it here. So it's a cos of theta minus I times sine of theta to the power 4. Similarly, so this same thing we can just have it. So this is cos of theta minus of I sine theta. So what we did it here, so cos of theta, so this minus sign we have absorbed in the angles. So cos of minus theta, we know that cos of minus of theta is equals to cos of theta, wherein sine of minus of theta will give me minus of sine of theta, right? This is the same identity we'll be using it here and the power 4, and hence we have, if you'll observe here, cos of theta plus I sine theta, cos of theta plus I sine theta, numerator, denominator. That means we have just found out the equal base over here, and then we'll just add the powers. So this minus 4 will come in the numerator with plus 4. So 8 plus 4 will give me 12. So cos of theta plus I times sine of theta to the power 12 will give us cos of 12 theta plus I times sine of 12 theta. So here we have done the De Moivre's theorem. We have absorbed here the De Moivre's theorem, right? So we have applied it here, the De Moivre's theorem. Now next is evaluate 1 plus sine theta plus I times cos of theta upon this to the power n, right? So now first of all, let us see what to do with this 1. So 1 is sine square alpha plus cos square alpha, which can be written as sine square alpha minus I square cos square alpha. Okay, one more thing, why we have taken sine square alpha here as the real part, or you can say that why did we do it here, this plus 1 as minus of I square with the cos. So that means what we have absorbed this I with cos. The reason is, if you observe this identity or this evaluation part, this has been I into cos of alpha. I into cos of alpha. That is the reason we have absorbed, instead of writing cos square alpha plus sine square alpha, we have written sine square alpha plus cos square alpha, and then we have said that this is nothing but minus 1 the square, which is equals to minus of I square, right? This is what we have absorbed. Very important to apply the formula in the correct place at the correct time. Okay. Therefore, this sine square, so a square minus b square. So a square minus b square formula we have used, that is a minus b, or otherwise you can say write down, because it's a plus, I have taken it first, and a minus b, right? So a plus b into a minus b will give us something like this identity. Now again, if you'll observe here this 1, so we are talking here about the numerator. Numerator is 1 plus sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha. So we have just taken this, so 1 by these two brackets, and this sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha will remain as it is. So if you'll observe, this 1 has been replaced by these two brackets plus this sine. So this is the two terms we have to consider here. One term, this 1 has been replaced by these two brackets, and sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha has been replaced as it is. So this entire bracket has come as it is from the previous step. Then what is the next step? Next step is just to have this. So if you observe here, we have got sine alpha plus I cos of alpha and sine alpha plus I cos of alpha. So if you observe here, so this is a common term for these two particular two terms here. So we will just take this term outside. So sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha, we have taken it out. So in this particular first term, so if you observe here, this is my first term and this is the second term. So we have taken the first one term out of this bracket and one term out of this bracket. So this is the common term what we have taken it here. What is there inside this first bracket? First bracket sine alpha plus sine alpha minus I times cos of alpha, and the second square bracket will give me only one, and that is what these two brackets have come from this two. Then numerator we have got in terms of, so 1 plus sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha we have expressed in this way, and therefore we have got the same term, similar term. So this term is already present in the denominator. If you observe, 1 plus sine alpha minus I times cos of alpha, so that will get cancelled and will remain here only with this particular term. So sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha will be here. Now as I have told you in the corollary part that this sine alpha you can replace as cos by taking this pi by 2 minus the alpha, or pi by 2 minus that particular angle. So therefore this sine alpha we have replaced as cos of pi by 2 minus alpha, and this cos of alpha we have replaced as sine of pi by 2 minus alpha. So this is what we can do it here in this particular bracket, or this particular sine alpha plus I times cos of alpha can be replaced as cos and sine using pi by 2 minus the theta. So this is, now here we have just taken the part inside. Now we will take to the power n here, to the power n. So if you observe here, we have taken to the power n. So this entire thing will go to power n. Now you must have understood why we have done this cos, sine converted into cos and cos into sine, because we wanted to go for the De Moivre's theorem. And this is possible only if we have cos as the real part and sine as the imaginary part of that complex number. And hence this n will come into the angle and we will have this evaluation part complete for this particular question. Okay, now let me just go quickly one more question, which is a very simple, but yes, there are so many different algebras are involved into it. So now we'll observe by given condition is if cos of alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma is equals to 0, sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma is equals to 0 given to you. And then we need to prove this 4 parts. Before going for this detail into it, first of all, let me just explain you, is there any harm in writing the 0 plus I times 0 is equals to 0? No, there is no harm in writing this type of, in the 0, expressing 0 in this way. There is a reason for this also. What is it? It is this 0 has been replaced as cos terms. Then this 0 has been replaced as the sine terms, and this 0 as it is, right? So that means what? This 0 we can say that cos alpha plus cos beta plus cos gamma. Second, I times 0, this is sin alpha plus sin beta plus sin gamma is equals to 0. So if you observe here, just by collecting the sine cos alpha plus I times sin alpha, so just collecting the terms or the collecting the angles, same angles together here, if you observe same angles together here, we are going to get something like this, which is nothing but we'll be saying A is equals to cos of alpha plus I sin alpha, B is equals to cos of beta plus I times sin of beta, and C is cos of gamma plus I times sin of gamma, and which is same as we are saying it's A plus B plus C is equals to 0. So we are using here few algebra expansions. So that is the first thing we have said that A is cos of alpha. So angle alpha with A, angle beta with B, and angle gamma with C, what we have expressed. Now again this is, there is no harm in saying 0 minus I times 0 is equals to 0. This 0 will be replacing as this. Again, this is the same thing what we have done it for this particular step here. For this particular step, and what we are going to get it, we are going to get this type of way, because this is cos of alpha minus I times this sine terms. So if we'll just collect the terms of alphas and betas and gammas, we'll be getting cos of alpha minus I times sine alpha, cos of beta minus I times sine of beta, and so on, right? And now if we'll take this as so here, so this is cos of alpha minus I times sine alpha can be taken it as minus to the power minus 1. We have seen this corollaries. If you wanted to go, I mean, if you are having any confusion in your mind, just go on the slide, just check it out with the corollaries and you will get this corollary present there. So this is cos of alpha. So minus sign we have taken it in the power here, everywhere in the power. So what we are going to get it here? We are going to, that means what? It is nothing but a to the power minus 1 plus b to the power minus 1 plus c to the power minus 1 is equals to 0, which is same as 1 by a plus 1 by b plus 1 by c equals to 0. If we'll just cross multiply, take the LCM, we'll be getting this type of identity, which is bc plus ca plus ab upon abc is equals to 0. And if we'll just go and do the multiplication of this abc equals to, so we'll just equating it. So we'll be getting ab plus bc plus ca is equals to 0. And if we are going to use this identity, very important steps to be to note it down here. That is a plus b plus c the whole square is equals to a square plus b square plus c square plus 2 times ab plus bc plus ca. So this is the identity we are already having in the algebra. And now we have already seen in the previous slide, that is a plus b plus c is equals to 0. So this will move to 0. Similarly, just now we have said that AB plus BC plus CA is equals to 0, and therefore this will also move to 0 and will remain here with A square plus B square plus C square equals to 0. Now if we'll put it now here, that is cos of alpha plus I times sine of alpha to the power 2 plus cos of beta plus I times sine of beta to the power 2 and cos of gamma plus I times sine of gamma to the power 2 is equals to 0. And we'll just do the De Moivre's theorem here. We have applied the De Moivre's theorem here. Power has come into the angle. If you observe everywhere here, beta, gamma and everywhere. So we'll be getting something like this. After this type of identity, we'll be separating it out. Cos terms in one bracket and I terms in one bracket. That means what we have expressed this particular step as x plus iy, right? X as the real part and y as the imaginary part. And then from here, if we equate the real and imaginary parts, what is this 0 means? 0 means 0 plus I times 0. And therefore, this is nothing but cos of 2 alpha plus cos of 2 beta plus cos of 2 gamma is equals to 0. So we have got one of the identity from this 4, right? Similarly, if we take this as the base, now cos of 2 alpha plus cos of 2 beta plus cos of 2 gamma, we have got it as 0. Therefore, we can just write down here, because it's a double angle formula, because it's, if you'll observe, 1 plus cos of 2x is equals to, or otherwise let me take it theta here, cos of 2 theta is equals to cos square theta into 2, or otherwise sometimes it has been given to you as 1 plus cos of 2 theta upon 2 is equals to cos square theta. One and the same thing here, right? If we write down here 2 here, otherwise you make the 2 here and transfer with this 2 times cos square theta. We have done the same identity here. If you observe here, this is the identity we have used it here. This is the identity what we have used. So cos of 2 theta we have used as 1 minus, it is so cos of 2 alpha is this. Okay, so we have used this identity, 2 times cos of theta minus 1. Yes, this 1 will come to this side and this will be 2 times cos square theta minus 1. So this will be identity what we have used it here. Again, if we'll just combine this, so minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 will go to the other side, that will be minus 3. Sorry, plus 3, and these 2's will come out of each and every this cos square alpha, cos square beta, cos square gamma by 2. So this is what we are going to get as the identity. I think this is the first identity. So the identity which we have got it, I've put it in the yellow color shade here. Then cos square alpha is equals to, that means what we have used, sin square alpha plus cos square alpha is equals to 1. This identity we have used it. We have just replaced those terms over here. And we have got the next identity just by having a small addition subtraction. We'll be getting this type of identity again, which is again one of the thing we wanted. Now, this is also one of the thing, that is we have got this also, AB plus BC plus CA equals to 0 from the previous slide. So if you'll observe here, we are going to get this type of thing, AB, BC and CA is equals to 0. If you'll again add this up, I think it is a fifth corollary, wherein we have to add, multiplication will give you this. So this is the one bracket, this is another bracket. Multiplication will give you with the different angle, right? So alpha plus beta everywhere will be going to get. And then from this, if you equate the real and the imaginary parts, we are going to get this one and this one as identities, right? So this is extremely simple, but yes, little bit of the lengthier question. And this is the self-observation slide, wherein similar kind of questions I've given, because this type of questions are normally asked in the complex De Morgan's theorem applications. So the hint is also been given to you for the both the questions. Just you try it out. If at all any query, please do ask me in the comment section. If at all you like it, please comment, and please click the like button, so that I'll be getting the motivation to go for the next sessions. Stay tuned, stay connected for the channel, upcoming videos for the complex numbers and many more topics. Thank you. Happy learning.